Thank you so much, Mr. Toastmaster, and welcome to everyone who is here with us today. For a short while, I served as the interim executive director for Gathering for Women, and there were a whole lot of hearts everywhere on our invitations, on our logo, on all the materials we sent out. I didn't really think much of hearts, but definitely they were not my go-to emoji. But the opportunity to be involved with this project and before with Casa de Noche Buena from the earliest stages has provided me with an opportunity to understand what is truly up with all those hearts. I say this because supporting projects like the Schumann Heart House for so many of us is about opening our hearts to something that's happening in our community that is so easy for so many of us to just ignore. Women who are unhoused are most often invisible on our streets. Families with children blend into our communities for the safety and the protection of themselves and their families. When homelessness is visible, it's often intertwined with mental illness or addiction that's so easy to turn away from or literally walk around. In sharing his fine art with us today, Bob has made visible for all of us what is usually not seen and what is definitely far too often misunderstood. The truth of the matter is that in Monterey County, our families with children, our mothers, our grandmothers face oftentimes insurmountable odds to stay in their homes due to housing costs and affordability. In fact, I read this week in the Los Angeles Times, a US Census Bureau study that shows an estimated 1.5 million California households are behind on their rent. This comes at the same time as news that the maximum allowable increase as of August 1st will increase to 10% because of the high rate of inflation, adding an additional layer of concern for renters on the brink who are already experiencing their own inflationary challenges. When a renter loses her housing, even if she's able to find a lower monthly rent, she often has to put down her first month, her last month, and a deposit. This is an amount of money that guests who come to Casa de Noche Buena or who will come to the Schumann Heart House simply do not have. We need to open our hearts for these individuals. Jody and Michelle, they recently shared with me a story of a mother who was staying at Casa de Noche Buena when Bob visited and shared with them his portraits. At first, one guest was adamant she did not want to be in the photography. She did not want herself or her child to be photographed. But after Bob showed her his work and shared with her the story of his project and assured her that these photos could be for her only and did not need to be a part of any exhibition, she softened and she actually asked to participate. At the end of the shoot, she proclaimed that she wanted this picture of her and her child and to really remember this time in our lives. She said, "It feels important. This may be the lowest point for us, but I want to remember it." A very perceptive staff member at Casa de Noche Buena suggested to her that instead that maybe this is not the low point in her life, but maybe it's a starting point. You see, when we open our heart and allow for the doors to open at facilities like this one, we create the opportunity for members of our community who are facing insurmountable obstacles, such as the high cost of living on the Monterey Peninsula, to start over. We are here today to share the vision that Mark Schumann had to expand our capacity to provide safe spaces for women and families with children to catch a break. A safe space that would limit the amount of time women and families are on the streets or living in their cars, unprotected and insecure. A safe space with support to navigate all the resources that will allow her to transition into permanent housing. Soon we're going to kick off the public phase of a $7.8 million campaign to make the Schumann Heart House a reality. As you've already learned this afternoon, thanks to Mark Schumann's investment in this vision and Senator Laird's advocacy and a handful of key supporters, we've already raised $5.9 million. with $1.9 million left to go, my ask to all of you is to please open your heart to the opportunity to invest in all the women and families with children who will come through these doors. Women just like Angela in Bob's photograph. Angela needs you. The Monterey Peninsula needs you. We need you. Thank you.
All right. We are moving on to the evaluation section of the meeting. Evaluating Kate Daniels' speech, Have a Heart, is Rich Gehrman. Rich?
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. And nanu to everybody, especially to Kate. Kate, you did a bang up job on this project. Your goal was to explore the realm of bodily movements and letting your body speak as much as your vocal vocal apparatus. You were speaking clearly and effectively, and your gestures were definitely not boring and repetitive. You have many gestures, some of which were symmetric, some of which were asymmetric. And asymmetric gestures are kind of the thing that really keep us interested and going, because they were clearly made with a specific purpose in mind. Now, your spoken language was definitely clear and well-paced. You had many variations in speed and volume. Your effective eye contact was a little tough to gauge because of the glare from your glasses. I don't know if you have possibly a different pair of glasses, or you could change the distance between you and the screen. It might make it a little bit more obvious whether your eye contact was following everybody or not. But your gestures, above all, were effective. You kept everybody interested with the material, and we could tell you are totally comfortable in front of an audience. Speaking is an important part of your experience. It's your stock in trade. You also had very good organization to your thoughts. It was very evident that that was involved. You had very few unintentional gestures, if any. One of the things I noticed is that because of the field of vision of your camera, it appeared that when you were not using your hands to gestures, that they were kind of resting on the table surface just below the field of vision in the camera. One of the things I would challenge you to do is to get up and get away from the screen and the table, to stand and far back enough that your entire body is available to speak, to use gestures that involve not just your hands, but all of your body, so that we can see even more effectively how well your body speaks to us. All in all, I think you did a good job, and I think there is definitely some room for you to wring more value out of this exercise. And so, signing off, nanu.